Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fred. I work in the music entertainment industry. About, let's say, a few months ago, one of my business partners, we also manage a studio, a radio station. One of my business partners calls me and says, Fred, I need you to meet this guy. He's amazing. He's got an amazing idea. I was like, oh, all right, George. I'm in a session. I've got a few artists that I'm dealing with. I've got a timeline of releases to meet because I also own a distribution company attached to a distribution company called Believe, one of the biggest distribution companies in the world. So George says, yeah, meet this guy, please, man. He's like, George, I don't have the time. I've got so much going on. And then I said, right, you know what, George, you're my business partner. Bring him along. Let's sit down and have a meeting. Halfway through the meeting, I was crazy tired. I was tired. I started sleeping. And then he said something along the lines of, I have a tool that can help managers, producers, record labels, artists, centralize projects. When he said that, I woke up because, you know, when it comes to releasing music, there are so many moving parts to it. You have to contact the distributor. You have to contact a art designer. You have to contact other managers. And then he said, I have a tool that can enable you to do this in one place that will allow the whole community to network together. That got me interested. And I felt, okay, this is a great idea. I don't even think he understands what he has in his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the one and only, the amazing, the always smiling, Boomy.
I'm on fire. Pop champagne. I got a lot of more brain. Things look high. Yeah, there's no pain. Plus I got something to say. Yo, you got a lot of cash.
Yeah. That was Lil Thomas. Lil Thomas is a 19-year-old artist who's fortunate enough to have a small team around him while he works on his debut album. What you just heard is a demo of the lead single of that debut album, but it still needs a little more work from a few key collaborators whom he doesn't have access to just yet. Today, Lil Thomas and his team have to use multiple tools to get the same things done. This leads to inefficiencies with communication and organization, the end result being missed deadlines and overspent budgets. To paint a picture, Lil Thomas and his team are like multiple chefs, each with their own ingredients and recipes to create a meal. In this case, the song. And if too many chefs spoil the broth, just imagine what too many chefs with their own recipes and ingredients does. I mean, sounds like the recipe for disaster, right? But with the House of Sounds, Lil Thomas and his team will be able to find the missing collaborators in a shared workspace created specifically for music, with all the tools they need to get from one end of the creative process to the other end of the creative process, or from ideation to collection of royalties. And this makes things more efficient. According to Jonathan Face, the author of Project Management for Musicians, a textbook, less than 50% of music projects without project management tools in place meet their deadlines. Less than 50%. And project management tools cut the time spent on music projects by 24%. And also, Guns N' Roses case study shows that music projects with project management tools in place generate over 25 times more revenue. So creating a standardized process workflow for different types of music and facilitating the teams with all the tools they need to get from one end of the creative process to the other end of the creative process will give labels and make it easier for their teams to manage their projects and manage their artists. More importantly, it will save them time and money. To do this, we're building an application with project management features, a collaborative discovery tool, and cloud storage and encryption provisions. The total size of the market is the size of the productivity software market, which is valued at $69 billion. Our immediate market is the creative segment of that market, which is valued at $8.3 billion. And obtaining just 1.2% of that market share will get us to an annual recurring revenue of $100 million. We're not the first to the market, but the way we differentiate ourselves from the competitors is by covering the entire end-to-end process workflow. Our competitors only cover specific points in that process workflow. Back to Lil Thomas and his team. They will have the option between a freemium and a paid subscription model. Also, the producers that will be selling beats to them will pay us 10% commission for selling beats to our platform. And also, advertising the various milestones they're able to achieve while working on these projects will be another revenue stream for us. My team and I have domain expertise in the music industry. This gives us a clear understanding of Lil Thomas's and also allows us to identify the best ways to alleviate those pains. The founding team are all artists, underpinned by the CTO who has had years of programming experience and leadership roles. As for me, I'm an artist, producer, and songwriter with over 20 years of experience and a publishing deal with Sony Music. In the coming weeks, we're going to begin beta testing one of the biggest record labels in Nigeria and a few UK-based studios and management firms. We also ran a focus group with a few industry executives, and we found out that these professionals need all-in-one tool to handle all their music project needs. So far, the business has been bootstrapped by the founding team, and now we're seeking £275,000 for 11% at a £2.3 million pre-money valuation. With these funds, we'll hire and pay personnel, we'll develop our products further, and we'll market the products. Now, making music should not be painful, but it is right now for Lil Thomas and a lot of other artists around the world. And with the House of Sounds, we're not just solving Lil Thomas's problem, but the problem of millions of artists around the world. With the application, we'll be able to get more music out to the world more efficiently. We'll give labels and artists more control over their businesses and their crafts. We will save time and we will generate more revenue.
Join us in our journey to